I'd like to welcome everyone all to the Mind of Ivry podcast. I have a very special guest with me today. He goes by the name of Anthony Green Jr., a friend, a brother, somebody that has always been there since I've known him, pushed me to continue writing myself and bettering myself. So we're gonna get into everything about him, but I just want everybody to know this is somebody that has been a very intricate part in my life and my journey. Just somebody that's been motivating, really been there for me. And people like that you never forget. You always just appreciate, and he always does the same in return. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome everybody, Anthony Green Jr.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So, before we really get into everything, how's your day been going so far?
My day's been going well, man. So, starting on April, I've been running at least 3 miles every morning. So, if I run every morning now, my day turns out to be well. That's a good foundation of my day.
And so, what made you like want to start, doing the 3 miles every day? Like, what kind of turned that into something that you want to just continue doing?
Honestly, man, it's kind of like that. The pressure you put on yourself. I started doing it the first week of April. I turned 28 the first week of April, and I started running every morning. And then one morning I woke up and was like, I really don't feel like it, but it's like that voice in your head, like, go, go, go. And that voice has been winning every day. And also, I'm 28 now. I feel like 28 is, I feel like I'm at the age of, if I don't start practicing or developing good habits now, it's going to turn for the worse as I get into my 30s. I've been on this heavy health kick right now, man. So,
Yeah, that's definitely good. I mean, because I know we always have heard, our elders or just older people in general coming up say, when you get this certain age, your back go out, your hip
exactly.
bone and all that. So it's
And
like,
I
you know,
I honestly believe we can turn the tide on that, man. I think like that's why I said I feel like 28 to 32 is that turning point where if I start practicing good habits now, I don't smoke as much, I don't drink as much. I cut out fried foods for the month, and I feel amazing.
yeah, I think that's sometimes the hardest thing for people to be able to really
Hard. It's
balance
hard.
out, yeah, to really have a good balance on life. They're so used to doing things a certain way when they have to adjust, it makes it hard for them to, realign everything to going into their main purpose. But it's great that you're able to do that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Going
okay,
in.
okay, okay. So yeah, so for the people who don't know, let them know, where you from and what your city means to you.
Chucktown. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, man. It's one of the most historic cities in the country. Right, it's on the coast, nicknamed the Holy City, and it means everything to me, man. Just like anybody grows up anywhere, it's like that. Your city's going uh mean a lot to you. I grew up in a side of Charleston that's known as North Charleston. It's like 15 minutes from the actual city. Um, and yeah, man, I've been here my whole life, and it's home.
So, you know, as great as the city as it is, I also want to know what's the best place to eat at in your city.
Well, man, it's people probably would typically pick a seafood spot, but I'm not a big seafood person. Um, Man, that's tough. And I've been gone for some time, and I just got back to the city. So whatever I don't want people to hear this and be like, "Really, you picked that?" Because I'm gonna pick something like a brunch spot or something like that. Nothing that really is true to the city, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's gonna be like a generic spot. It's not gonna be something that's because I mean we're big on seafood here. Some of the best seafood.
All
Um,
right. Well, Hey, I guess you gonna have people. They gonna be waiting. Like, all right, man, you gonna have to make a decision sometime this year
Yeah,
now.
and it's really tough. Like I'm saying, I've been in Charleston my whole life, and it's so many good places to eat. That's tough. I can't even decide.
Yeah. So growing up in that area, like, what goals and like ideas did you have for yourself at a young age?
Um, well, I always wanted to do something creatively, but that had more to do with my dad, um, and just the things he exposed me to at a very young age. Whether it be just entertainment, movies, music, whatever. Just being around my dad, um, that's what opened me up to things beyond the city. You understand what I'm saying? Like I had a understanding of what the world was and how the world moved and how things went on in the world, especially creatively from my dad. And that definitely shaped me into, knowing that there was life outside of Charleston. So
Yeah,
that's where
that's
my upbringing came from, or my ambition came from.
and you speaking of your father, can you let our listeners know the importance of, because I also know you have your mother as well, and can you also let them know the importance of having that balance, of having, the motherly love and everything that a real mother brings to the table when she's, looking after her cubs, when she's looking after her, her kids, and then also the element that the father brings. Do you mind breaking that down?
I think it's definitely necessary to have both parents in your life. I'm not going to be I'm not going to say, everybody doesn't grow up within a two parent household, and I mean I understand that, but the it's very necessary to have both parents in your life just to have that presence because you need it. You definitely need it because my dad showed, like I just said, my dad exposed me to a lot of things, but without my mom, I wouldn't be so. She's the reason why I where I gained my faith. My mom is who took me to church and brought me up in that world, and my dad showed me the other side. Those two together is why I'm so balanced now. So it's definitely necessary to have different types of love, both parents in some capacity, or guardians, wherever, anybody that can bring you up and show you all sides of the world. Because I see people today, because of how my parents raised me, I can look at a 30-year-old person now and see that they didn't have what I had, just in the way that they navigate the world. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think I understand that more so now than ever.
Exactly. A lot of people, you wonder why they have, certain animosities, or certain, they seem like they're never really open or vulnerable about certain things, is because they
Right.
haven't been around those who made them feel comfortable. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, as navigating through, your early childhood, and as you're getting to, high school, like when you right on the verge of getting ready to graduate, did you have any plans for after graduation, or what ideas did you have?
Originally, I wanted to go to Claflin University, a school in Orangeburg, South Carolina. My older sister graduated from there. My younger brother graduated from there. I was trying to go for education. They had this program called a Call Me Mister program that kind of focused on minorities going into the education system, and somehow it, it all just fell through. Like 2 months prior to graduation, and I had a buddy back in 2011, 2010. I graduated in 11, but the recruiters, in high school, the recruiters, they post up.
Oh
They
yeah.
post up. They sit with you. You know what I mean? God forbid you give them your phone number. They're gonna call. But we had a Marine there that he was always, he was so, you know, every day. But there was a lady, it was a black lady. She was a Navy recruiter, and she would come by and she would talk to us, and she just had a different approach. That's what I'm saying. And my friend, he said that he was going to sign up. So they had this thing called like a buddy thing or whatever. like a buddy pass where two people going together, and they said that you go to boot camp together and you get stationed together and all of that, just to make people feel comfortable. But I ended up signing up because that whole college thing fell through. So I signed up, and then I found out he backed out.
Oh,
So then I
wow.
yeah, he backed out at the last minute, and here I am, 2 weeks before graduation. I signed up for the Navy, and I always I wanted to do my writing. That was my main thing, whether I was going to be a school teacher writing or whatever. But then I figured, shoot, I go in the Navy, I start making my money, immediately. So that was the driving force behind that. I joined the Navy, and really essentially to just fund what I wanted to do in writing, fresh out of high
Yeah,
school.
yeah, and I think sometimes people get a different concept of like when people go into the military. It's not for one specific reason. As you were
Yeah,
stating that, you went in there to be able to facilitate other things that you want to do. And a
exactly.
lot of times people feel like, okay, well, if you're not doing the full 20, oh, you must can handle it. You don't know how you can take that piece of information, those certifications you have, and then turn it into something that can build you even more outside of that. And if you do end up retiring, not only are you going to get paid for the rest of your life through that, but also too, it's just more so as saying, look, I finished this one full career, did my due diligence, and that's what it is. So it's great that you had the mindset of I'm not just going to be a work, or I'm not just going to be just in a system and not create my own platform for myself. So a lot of people need to understand that.
Right, and I know you definitely can attest to that. But it's yeah, man. I hate that people have there's some type of stigma on it, but it's like it's such a stepping stool and foundation for so many people, man. So many
Exactly.
people.
So now, your buddy, or he I guess he jetted out and everything, but you end up still going in. And once the process as far as with boot camp, and then also reaching your first duty station, kind of take us through the process of that and how your mindset was at that time.
So I'm 18. I was supposed to ship out. I graduated in May, right? And I was supposed to ship out in, like, I want to say December, right? Now the boot camp is in Great Lakes, Illinois. Neighboring Chicago, is freezing. But I end up getting an early ship date of like August 1st. So I'm like, cool. I still have my summer, but I go. August 1st comes, and it was all kind of surreal. Everything was good. We got to the airport. We're in O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and I'm coming down the escalator, and I see a bunch of people, like, sitting a crisscross applesauce. You know what I mean, with the little Manila folders or whatever, and the instructors getting everybody in line to get on the bus. And that's when I'm like, man, it's really about to get real. And that's when it all started to setting in for me. We're on the bus going to boot camp, and you got your one phone call, and they take everything off your back, and you pack it up in a box and ship it back home. So that's when it hit me. It's like, man, really doing this. But boot camp as a whole wasn't that bad. I just couldn't swim, man. That was that was the big thing for me. I couldn't swim. So going to the pool twice a day for like 2 months straight, that was pretty stressful, because I didn't know if I was gonna make it through Navy boot camp or not. But I made it through. And after I graduated boot camp, I wasn't really worried about where I was going, because I felt like nothing could be as bad as I just going to the pool twice a day, not knowing how to swim a bit. You understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
overcome. I wasn't worried about where I was going. And when I got to my first command, it was just like, okay, now I'm making money. On to what I came here for, finding a way to do the things I actually want to do.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, I mean, going through a process, stages, and then you get into, that finish line, and then continuing on. So that's
Right.
always, a great mindset to have. Now, as we're first, getting to your duty station, did you have early mentors who gave you advice that you still hold to this day?
It's kind of blurry, man. It's been about I'm about to hit 10 years. But early out, a lot of people that look like you and me, told me the same things. And one thing I always hold true is just show up on time in the right uniform. Like that. That's how simple it is in the military. And a lot of people can't even do that, but just show up on time, the right uniform, and everything else to take care of itself. And that's what I've been doing for going on 10 years, man. Just showing up with a good attitude and taking it for what it is.
Yeah, it's good you was able to compartmentalize certain things because there's a lot of pros and cons in any type of field.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot of bullshit. But the thing is, you have to understand that it's going to be bullshit. That's the trick to the whole thing. Like you can't take me down a journey and stress me out with a lot of things because I know that's what this is designed to be like. So I'm bigger than this. I'm bigger than this situation. So you gotta hold true to, well, you gotta stay true to yourself and remember what you're doing it for personally, and that should help everybody.
yeah, that definitely makes sense. So now, at your first duty station, you was able to, meet somebody that you're gonna spend your life with, and
That's good.
I,
Yeah,
huh?
I said that's God at work right there, huh?
Exactly, just bringing people together who don't even know at the time, what it's going to turn into. So, I want you to, give us her name. I know it, but I want, for the listeners, I want you to give us her name. And also, at what point did it set in like she's the one?
Okay, well, shout out to my wife Brianna, aka Stony. Um, what point did I find out she's the one? Um, well, we just met kind of. I just start up with we met just as friends. We just kind of clicked, we in the same at the same command, working at the same place, and we were definitely friends first. So much that she knew of girls that I was interested in. Like I would share that information with her. That's how good of friends we were. But of course, things developed. But you said when did I know she was the one?
Yeah. When did you know she was the one, or when did you feel like she stood out from, basically any others, even prior to the
Okay.
Navy? Yeah.
Well, she was definitely. I honestly never really met a girl like her that was so into the things that I was into, and that was early on, just in our friendship. That's where we clicked because she was just different from other girls, just the way she would dress and the things that she was into. But once we started dating, I would say about a year, maybe a year and a half, we were faced with a big challenge. You notice she had to go to Japan for 2 years, right? And I was going to
Yeah.
remain in Virginia. And we had to have that conversation. Now here we are, a year into dating. Like, yeah, things are going good, but it's like, are we at a point where we can spend 2 years apart? And we just banked on faith and we trusted in each other. And we spent that 2 years apart, and that distance brought us even closer. So once we overcame that 2 year distance, is like, in my mind, this is my wife. Because I mean, that was the biggest thing. We didn't know because I was 23 at the time. She was like 21, 22, something like that. So being that young and making that type of decision, like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can rock out with this person. You know what I mean? And over the course of 2 years, we were just getting closer and closer. And when she returned back to the States, it's like, this is my soulmate. This is my partner. I can't live without her. So it was kind of like a period. It was a progressive thing.
And with that distance, a lot of times people have it's one of those things where they'll settle for whoever's the closest because they're afraid of, oh, okay, I don't know, what this person got going on, or are they
Yeah,
still interested in me, and all these different doubts sit in, and you can feel that way in the same state, living next door to each other. Sometimes you got
exactly.
people who feel that way, but it's great that it all worked out. You know what I mean? And because y'all definitely deserve each other, and y'all put the time and the dedication to see it through. which in anything you do, relationship, your job, if you don't put the time and dedication to it and you don't feel like it's purposeful, it's not gonna work because you're gonna be more comfortable with it not working than it is working. So, it's
Right.
great that y'all found that common ground. And, can you just in your own words give the importance of communication, whether, with distance or just in general, can you just give that importance?
Um, yeah, man, that's with any relationship. Communication is a big thing, and communication means a lot of different things to different people, but the basis of it is just being open and honest with each other, putting it all out there. Don't know it's no holding back when you're developing a relationship that you want to, you're trying to sustain a relationship. You have to be open. Along with that, sacrifices. Along with that, just time management, making time for that person and showing up for that person continuously, even when it doesn't always benefit you. So that's what I say, man. Along with all of that, time management plays a big role as well. You have to show up for that person because it was hard for me. Like Brianna was in Japan, and I was in Virginia, and I think it's like what it's like 12 hours or something like that, a difference. So it would be nice where I just want to, and she would
Yeah,
just begin. It's like you have to show up for that person.
yeah,
And one sees that you care and you put that time in, it's like I'll go to the end of the world for you.
yeah. And that's just being selfless, putting that person, first, and they also putting you first, but have a perspective of, I'm still having to do my job and my journey, my personal journey as well, and just finding ways to corral everything together to make it make sense for your own specific relationship, because relationship advice is great, but I think sometimes people, they do it exactly how they're told, and it's like your relationship is not set up like that financially, mentally,
Right.
spiritually. So if it's not set up that type of way, then you may not be able to really see it flourish the way you want to. So I just think that it's great to have your perspective on that, because y'all went through so much, as far as the distance and everything like that, but y'all still made it through. And I think that's very big, very noble, because in today's society, we see the breakdown, especially in our culture, of, the relationships for, a black man and a black woman. And we need that. That's a staple. That's important to us. Other, people may not see it as it, being as necessary, but we want to continue on our lineage as well. We come from greatness as well, but that doesn't mean we're taking the light from
And
another community. But we just gonna want to continue prevailing in our own right.
yeah, and another thing I think everybody has to remember is it's truly a process, and everybody's process is different. Like, and that's where that sacrifice comes in. It's so easy to give up and just throw your hands up, like on to the next one. But that's one thing we did, constantly is just come together, figure it out, and keep pressing on. You have to keep pressing on.
Exactly, exactly. And that's definitely good information. And you know, as far as to the point where y'all was on the verge of getting married, and figuring out the direction of how you wanted to do that and everything, like, did anybody give y'all advice or just any important factors to consider, or was that something that y'all just took on your own to figure out yourself?
You mean as far as like the wedding?
Yeah, as far as with the wedding, the planning and
Um,
executing.
yeah. So as far as the wedding planning, uh, we decided just me and her because we didn't want anybody's input really. You understand what I'm saying? It because it really it we knew from the jump this is going to be our day celebrating our love. So we wanted to do things 100% our way, and our family supported us in that decision. We told them all you got to do is show up, and celebrate with us. So, and that's something we decided to do at the jump because if you do it that way, you don't have. There's already so much added pressure from getting married, especially with the wedding side of it. Uh, that we wanted to just kind of all we wanted to control the narrative of every single thing. And we don't want to have to rely on people to do this or that because that could be stressful in itself. But yeah, we just decided to do everything ourselves.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, And since y'all did decide to do it yourself, for those who are looking to get married, is there anything that you would want to give them as advice or what to watch out for on their way?
Yes, man. My main advice would be get a wedding planner. That's top. That's number one for me. Get a wedding planner, please. Along with that, just have an understanding of what both parties want. Because I mean, my wife, she didn't necessarily have an idea of her dream wedding, but she knew what she wanted. She knew how she wanted to look aesthetically. She knew the type of couture she wanted. She knew all of that things, and we were able to get it. But and I was just supporting that because I just want her to have the best day. I'm marrying her. I'm just happy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, man. But please, getting a wedding planner because we did it ourselves. Um, we didn't necessarily understand so much, timeline. And the thing about the wedding planner is connected with all of the different vendors in the city already. The different videographers, photographers, caterers, they're already kind of plugged in. They probably worked with every caterer in the city if they've been, doing it long enough. So it just all works out.
exactly. And for those who haven't seen or they don't follow you yet, I'll make sure to put all your links out when this is posted. But I hope they definitely get a chance to see, visually and sonically how your wedding went. I was also in the wedding, and for
Yes,
me,
sir.
I was like, yeah, this is like a dream. I mean, once people see it, I'm not gonna give out no details. Once they see it, they're like, yeah, they did all this like that. Yeah, they did it the right way.
Yeah,
So, man, once
that's them. Yeah, it truly, it really, I think about it all the time, man. It was a perfect day.
It definitely was weather-wise, and even with the whole pandemic, y'all still found a way to just maneuver through it all. Everything got done safely. I
Yeah,
mean, it just was one of those moments where to be happy for somebody else is, I think, is just one of those joys in life that people don't really understand. To see
right.
your brother, your sister, your niece, your nephew, whoever, however they're related to your friends, to see their happiness come to life, you know what I mean, is just very rewarding, because especially you seeing the journey they went through and just how they cared about each other, and to see that love manifest into something real. Because a lot of times we hear, we see our favorite celebrities giving us advice on manifestation or empowerment and all this and that, but then it doesn't fall through. But for you guys, for those who was close around you, they was able to see the progress that y'all made, and y'all both reaching your own personal goals and then collaborative goals, and it was an amazing time, man. It was an amazing time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So just to transition into what you have been doing for yourself as far as your projects, at this point, what just continues to drive your passion to just create?
Mm, truthfully, man, I've been chasing highs because when I first started out, like writing projects when I was like 14 or 15, it that just made me so happy. Like, piecing 11, 12 poems together, you know, copying it and stapling them up and passing them out to people. I just got a high from that, and I've been chasing that high ever since. That's why every year, I'm doing it, digitally now, but it's like, it's just my passion, and I can't. It's what makes me happy, and it's what it's really keeps me sane to keep creating.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. I always feel like when you're stripped of everything and all you have left is just your words and your actions, are you able to still flourish, man? And
Yes,
you've been doing that. I mean, if for people who don't know, you've always been on me about, hey, man, keep writing, man, put this out, man. Like you got
do
something,
it.
man. It was years later till I finally did it. But it was one of those situations where I'm like, this he doesn't know how influential he is in my life, because um, not everybody knows, people's situations as they're in the military and certain things they've, gotten over or they're trying to get through at that moment in time. But you was always there for me through thick and thin, and I've always done my best to do the same. And at this point now, where we at in life, man, even also with Darius White, another one of our brothers, just to see us all in our elements doing what we do it's amazing, and we we understand how intricate, our bond is, and it's just, God has really been, shining on us and keeping us, striving.
Yeah, man, I'm so thankful for y'all because y'all to have brothers and to have brothers at a time when you're trying to find yourself, just as a man, creatively, whatever, and y'all were doing the same thing. We were doing the same thing at the same time, trying to figure out what it is that we wanted to do. And that really, we leaned on each other. And that's why we're so close now. And that's a bond that it won't ever be broken.
Exactly, exactly. And so, as far as with your projects, you know, at this point, if you're ready, can you name all your projects? It does, whatever order you want to put it in, but can you name all your projects?
This is like asking, this is like saying, goo up down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or or saying currency down, like, hey man, but I'm gonna try, okay?
Yeah.
So I would have to start. Let's see. So in 2010 or 11, I wrote this little thing. Do you remember I was telling you I used to piece things together and staple it?
Yeah.
Um, this project called Carbon, right? It was like 11 poems. All right. The world will never see it because I lost it. Um, but actually, oh, this is so corny, man. I never even told you this. Prior to that, right? And like, I'm like 15, and I wrote this little project called Pit Film, which it was an acronym. It was poetry is the flow in me, right?
Oh yeah. Man.
Oh my goodness. All right, the world will never see that either because I lost it. But notably, my first actual book, 2013, was Perspectives. Okay, 2014, I wrote a book called Things Built, and those both were paperback through a self publisher. And then I started getting to the digital space, and I did things like I would do poems, it's like 10 poems a piece, and put it out for free, just on a marketplace digitally. And I did a project called Wheat, Hurt. It was just 8 poems, French for eight. I did Canvas. Um, man, I'm forgetting one. I did a project called Boy Poetic Volume One. All right, that's like 2014. 2015 was when I did that Boy Poetic Volume 1. 2016 is when I did another paperback called Days at the Arcade Playing Far from the Tree. Now, that's where I really developed as a writer, in my opinion. And that's when I began to start, you know, enjoying what I was writing. Like a year later, I was like, I actually like that project. So from there, I started writing, I started getting into the things I really love. Like I did a project in 2016 called Ex Girlfriends, and that's when people started to gravitate towards my work. And then I did let's see where we at, 16, 2017. I'm not reading anything either. This is all from memory.
Yeah.
2017, it was a slower year for me. I think I was at sea a lot in 2017. But I did this little magazine called Black is the New Black, which was a couple of poems. I actually still have a couple copies of that. Um, Oh, I skipped one. Back in 2014, I did a project called The Art of Defense. And you may not remember this, but I actually wrote that. And you are Darius. We went to the Kinko's and printed up like 100 copies of that. Um, 2018, I did Hat Trick and Eve's Influence. Now, these are projects that I actually perform to this day. 2019, my biggest project to date, Sink or Walk on Water. And most recently, I did a Carpool to the Moon. And I did Snakes in the Grass with Wings on Their Backs in 2018. And recently, I have my limited release. I still see snakes in the grass with wings on their backs.
Yeah.
A lot
So
of
and
sheesh.
you know, yeah, and for everybody, that's listening right now, you can, he, like you said, he has in digital space, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and also too, I will be putting out a collection of all his books, through the social media. He will be tagged in there. So if you follow him, you follow me, you'll be able to see it as well. So, definitely make sure you give him a, you check him out. He has some great works that, I mean, it's going to get you through whatever season you're going through. And I think that's the greatest thing about writing and creating and having a gift. It doesn't matter what age you are. There's no limitation on it. There was kings back in the day who were, very young, but they had the mindset. You get think of people like, maybe Tupac, or you think of people who like a young Jay-Z, a young Nas. The things they were saying, they were able to put it into a way. It's like you can be a 50-year-old man. It's like, oh wow, this young man,
Yeah,
this young kid is saying something. So
yeah,
it's very prolific to have that ability.
yeah. That's facts.
And so out of all your projects to date, which one took you like the longest to, get done, and why?
My longest self-published actual paperback was Days at the Arcade, playing Far from the Tree, just because it was like 50 poems. Um, that took me a while to write, but in recent years, um, you said it took me the longest.
Yeah, which one
I would
took you just the
I
longest?
would say I would say so with my digital projects, it usually takes me like 3 or 4 months, and it's crazy because it ends up only being like 12 poems, but it's a lot that goes into it. I would say Sink or Walk on Water. I would say Sink or Walk on Water because I really just took my time with that one, and I just moved back to Charleston around that time, and I was still traveling a little bit, but I took my time with. I really did sit down and take my time with, it. And it wasn't like a stressful writing process. It's just I was just taking my time. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
say Sink or Walk.
Okay. Okay. And so, you being an artist or creator yourself, who, as an artist or musician today, you look up to?
I'm gonna tell you a secret, man. Um, I haven't really told anybody this, but so of course I look up to a lot of artists and musicians. Outkast, Tribe Called Quest, Jay Z. But a person I really look up to is Stan Lee, the creator behind the Marvel comics or whatever, because he created his own universe, right? He created
Exactly.
his own universe, all these superheroes or whatever. So that's what I've been really doing in my mind for the past 8 9 years. If you look at you can look at the titles of my projects. The people that I'm writing about is everyday people, but in my mind they're heroes. So essentially, I'm creating this universe, and all of my projects are linked together in a way.
Yeah, can you hear me?
And so, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think I got cut off. I had a call, but yeah, I'm back.
You good?
Yeah, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. I really look up to Stan Lee because he created his own universe. And that's what I've been doing with a lot of my projects. If you look at the titles of the projects, like Days at the Arcade and Sink or Walk on Water or Eve's Influence, I'm writing the people that I'm writing about in my projects are superheroes to me. It's everyday people, but I'm writing about their origin stories. So I always write in that way because I grew up watching Marvel and reading comics. So that's one of the biggest influences. But just musically, just people that just rhyme crazy. Like nobody writes like Andre 3000. Like I still can't wrap my head around the things that he says. Outkast as a whole. Of course, Jay Z, one of the best writers of all time. Yeah, a lot of artists, man. I love a lot of artists,
Yeah,
but
man.
Stan Lee is pretty high on that list for me.
Well, I think that's a different perspective, because that's exactly what he did. I mean, his legacy still lives on, even though he's passed on. So, you
For
know,
years
uh,
and years. Like,
you, yeah,
no, I was just gonna say, man, think about it. Nobody, I mean, Marvel is so huge. It's like, why would somebody even try to create a alternate universe with more superheroes that we haven't? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It just doesn't seem like a reality. Everybody's so tied into the story of Marvel, and things are still being revealed in within that universe. It's crazy to me.
yeah. Everybody getting their own time to shine. You know what I'm saying? And each film is like, I ain't know about this guy or this woman
Exactly.
or this creature. So, exactly,
It's like I don't think Stan or the original other creators I don't know if they thought all this out, but it's beautiful how they're building onto the story to keep his name alive. I love it.
exactly. And so, you know, if you had like two places anywhere in the world to perform any one of your projects, where would it be and why?
Any one of my projects, let me
Yeah.
see. Okay, I probably would have like a set of different poems from like pulling from all projects, but one place is no particular place, but just like a rooftop, overlooking a busy city street with a live band. That's really a vibe that I want. Um, and secondly, man, just being a kid, of hip hop. I want to do something like you bring the 106 and Park stage back or something. You know what I mean? Like
Nostalgia.
you know what I mean? Something like that. You bring like a TRL or 106 and Park stage back. Just that would do something for me. That something like that would be cool. So that would be my two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if that's possible to happen, which I know it is, you know what I mean. Whoever listens to this, you know what I mean. Just hey, make it happen. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because he gonna Anthony gonna continue to do what he does. So everything else, has to just fall in line. But
That's and one thing I want to say, I really want to get back and start performing again. I really miss it. I really do.
yeah, and as far as you mentioned performing, like how was the interaction and how do you feel, prior to going on stage and or whatever the venue is, and then once you leave, because that's something for myself that I would like to incorporate, and I've seen you do it and stuff like that, and that has given me the confidence to say this is something that is possible to do. I mean, you just got to build that that stamina inside, that and I guess more so the self-esteem to no matter what the reaction is, you're able to get off your mindset into the atmosphere.
Honestly, man, it's truly a wild ride because the things we write about, we're being vulnerable, and it's when you put it on paper and you publish it and you send it out to the world, you're not there with them as they're taking the words, and you understand what I'm saying. So yes, it's you're writing, and being open, but you're not present with that person when they're reading it. They say, "Man, I really liked your last effort," but it's like it's different when you're saying it and you're looking into their eyes, and it's a room full of people. So it's really a wild ride. Like before, I would say it's not so much even nervousness; it's just anxiousness. It's like, man, it's just trippy because like I'm actually doing this, and enduring it's the best feeling in the world, man. It's like it pays off. It's all worth it, you know. And after, you just feel it's a high, and that's why I can't wait to do it again. You really get a good high from it.
Yeah, man. And and this I just commend you on continuing to, strive and doing everything you can to just continue to see your dreams come true. And, out of all your projects that you've done so far, I know you probably have just numerous lines or just
Oh my
quotes,
goodness.
that you could use. But If you had one line or entry to help the world today, what would it be? If you have to summarize it, that's fine. But if you know a line or a quote that you got that can help the world today, what would it be?
A line world today. I'll just keep it current with my limited project that's floating around right now. I would just tell everybody in this time, yes, there's a lot of love that surrounds you, but always be aware of the snakes in the grass with wings on their backs. And that's me talking about the people that you don't expect. Understand what I'm saying? And a lot of things are against us. I need people to realize that. And a lot of things, the things about snakes in the grass with wings on their backs is you can't get to them. So that's just a metaphor to say there's a lot of things that we can't control. There's a lot of things that's just going to be what it is. But just focus on the love around you and build with that. And I
All
and
right.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, man, it's just speaking of, that aspect of what you're saying. How do you view the world today? Just the way society has been going, not just with the pandemic, but everything that's intertwined with that, from just the acts of violence and, people not respecting other people. Like, what is your view on society today?
Man, I think I mean you know where I stand. It's been rough, and we've been saying for years it's been rough before our time. It's been a rough hundreds of years for us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This way for hundreds of years for us, man. It's just so crazy to me. Yesterday, I'm sitting down watching the trial. You know, um, with George Floyd, rest in peace, and it's like just to hear just to hear them defend it. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a wild thing to me that we're still hanging on, waiting in the balance for them to get it right. You know, we saw it on TV, and I get due process, but we saw it on TV, and just the fact that there's a debate going back and forth outside of the courtroom. There's a debate going on. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just crazy to me, and it does something to you mentally. And we carry a lot, man. And it's maybe the media, or just being in this age of technology, it amplifies everything, or we're just so informed now. But it just puts you in a place of sometimes you got to kind of take a step back from it just to kind of stay sane. But through it all, I'm blessed, I'm happy, I have good people around me, and I'm just hopeful for the future.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Everybody just has to understand. You can't control. What's out of your control. Your action is what you need to make sure you have a hold of, a grip of, because if you're wanting somebody else to be better, but you don't feel like you need to change because the world has to just adapt to you, you don't make the world turn on its axis. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to
Yeah.
continue, as you saying. Just do what's best for you and yours, man. And man, any other thing you want to add before we close out?
Um. Anything I want to add? Man, it's a lot. I have a lot creatively, man. I have a lot of things coming up. So I was looking to do a some type of concert. I was working on a rehearsal room style concert for my this project that I just put out, even though it's a limited release. But all my things are on the West Coast with my wife. But I have something like that coming out. Friday, I'm releasing some commentary on Genius.com, or Rap Genius, as a lot of people still call it, on Genius.com. I'm doing a behind the lyrics commentary on my poem "Beautiful Betrayal," and that's coming out Friday. So that's what I'm plugging right now. But so much more things to come, man. As always.
Yeah, man. Well, I just want to say I appreciate you, being on here, man. I felt like it was definitely something, I was proud to have, done, as far as having you on here, and, just, friends and family that have been genuine, and also even if people that I've just recently met this year, they have something to put out or just a message that's going to help, the next person. Because too many times you can kind of work and deal with certain people, as you were saying, that could be, snakes with wings on their back. So, you're giving them an opportunity, or, you're just willing to be there for them, and then they turn around and then they just show you another side of them. You know what I mean? Because the worst bite is the one that is the closest to you. You know what I mean? It seems like the just like the venom is just so more potent because you didn't expect that. And yeah, man, it's just great to have you on, man. Your brother. Say I love you, and blessings to your family and your friends. And I know out there on the West Coast, you're gonna make it happen and everything like that. And the East Coast always gonna rock with you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Uh,
then the more you keep elevating, seeing the world gonna see your purpose, man. So I just appreciate you, man, for sure.
Thank you, bro. Always love. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Well, man, if nothing else, I just want to say, to everyone listening, this has been another edition of the Mind of Ivory podcast. And to you and yours, everybody, y'all stay blessed out there. Peace.
Peace.